In this video of Ego featuring the Shiro, let's talk about it. Like the Nun Part 2. That's a 4 for pacing.
Okay.
Was the pace like that for this?
I mean, it was an okay pace.
That's
it wasn't too slow. It wasn't too fast.
That's how I got 3.5 on there.
Why didn't you just do 3? It's in the
I'm
middle.
gonna headbutt you right now. Right, welcome back, guys. We have another movie review, but first introductions. The Dumbledore's door is always open. Gandalf got the gray or white because I'm all black. Geordi LaForge captaining this enterprise, and I'm not just
a man with fat on his forehead.
Wow! I blink out one time. See, I was so self-conscious about this. She said I have forehead fat, and now you're forced to see it too. I apologize. I'm not just Mr. Terrific. I'm Dr. Terrific, apparently with a big ass forehead. I am Left Eye Ego. Doing the whole thing.
You want to redo it?
No. And this is the Shiro. She's okay, I guess. No, I brought her on now. Anyway, over maybe about a week and a half ago, we actually saw a pretty interesting horror film. I know that typically when you watch horror films, especially the possession movies that we like to watch, it's usually either very Christian or very Catholic. Mm-hmm. And the story is usually all the same. It's some ancient demon that you might have heard about, but there's an ancient text that you don't know about, and they have to find the mystery and expel the demon. And so we're pretty used to that.
Yeah.
Sing-songy of a movie when we're watching a possession movie. But this was actually pretty different, because we have slashers, we've got whodunits. But the movie we saw was It Lives Inside. And it was actually really interesting because it was an Indian movie, but it was Indian American.
The family,
East
typical
Indian.
migrant parents, right? Yes. They're migrant parents, but their child is American.
She's first generation. Yeah. And so it was actually really interesting to watch, and we knew immediately within the first 15 minutes that we wanted to really do a review on this one. Start off kind of slow, but after 15-20 minutes, you're like, we have to do this one. So we're going to be doing it just like we always do with our ratings. We're not doing just the regular 1 to 5 star crap over here. We don't do that. In Casa Ego, we do the ego statistics. Therefore, we got casting, plot, pacing, and the scare factor. All right, my love, are you ready to review this movie? Okay. I've got more enthusiasm than she does, so I'll just add my own enthusiasm. There we go.
Is that the only enthusiasm button you have?
No. All right, so I'm just going to give you the plot summary for this movie here, guys. All right, so plot summary says an Indian American teenager struggling with her cultural identity has a falling out with her former best friend, and in the process, unwittingly releases a demonic entity that grows stronger by feeding on her loneliness. All right, so first thing that we actually have up is casting. I'm actually going to give this one 4 egos. I'll tell you who the cast was before you make your decision. Because you have seen some of the cast before.
Right.
All right. So no particular order. The order I pretty much will give this is kind of the way that IMDb had it structured. So we had Megan Suri as Sam, and you said that she was on Never Have I Ever, correct?
Yeah, she was the lesbian soccer player.
Okay. And she was pretty prominent on that show.
I guess she wasn't lesbian, but she dated a bunch of people in the show.
Okay.
She was the new girl in school.
Oh, so Dev was the one that had been there, and then she's the new girl.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. I didn't watch the show. It's just I've heard the name so many times. So, never have I ever watched the full episode. How about that? We had Mohana Krishnan as Tamira, who played Sam's best friend. in the movie. They also had Niru Bajwa as Purna, that was the one that played Sam's mother. We also had Vic Sahay as Inesh. He played Sam's father, but if you guys watched the series Chuck, he was actually in that show as well. He was one half of Jeffster, which was an awesome addition on that show. Honey, Betty Gabriel was the one that played Joyce.
Who's Joyce?
She was the high school teacher. And you know where we seen her?
Where?
Jack Ryan.
No way.
I couldn't catch it. I didn't know that either. Yeah. She did a really good job. She was
the boss lady.
Right. Yeah, she was running.
Oh my gosh. I did not put that together.
She was the director of the CIA. Yeah, I said she did really good for flipping a role where you couldn't be vulnerable and you had to make tough decisions to playing someone that was both vulnerable and scared. We'll get to her reactions to a few things as we go on. But those were the main characters that were on there. And I thought that all the characters gave mostly believable performances, again, except for one thing Betty Gabriel did, which we'll talk about later. But I guess everyone did well doing the whole fear and dread. The resentment between Sam and her mother was really good.
Yeah.
That back and forth.
Yeah.
They did a great job showing that, especially because it's hard. I guess with Friends and I, we talked about Friends that are first generation American. It's kind of like you're pulled in two different directions.
Right.
Like the culture in my family says this is what we are, but me as an American says that we do things like this. And sometimes they're either opposed to each other or sometimes they clash head on.
Well, and I don't think it's a lot about clashing. I think it's more about she's a teenager who wants to fit in. And they showed some scenes with some white girl where the girl was, they made it seem like the girl was using her for cultural clout, if you will. But what really the movie was trying to do, I think, was give you a sense of that no one has an understanding of what
she's going through
culturally she is a part of. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like different world.
Well, given that, what do you give the casting on a scale of 1 to 5?
I'd say 4. Yeah, I don't know anybody else who could have made it better.
Fair.
I'd almost lean towards 5 because I don't feel like anybody was a dud.
That's fair. And no one stole the attention.
Yeah, no one stole the attention. I mean, even didn't she like a boy or something? And that boy tried to help her. He didn't take away from it. Like he was just like
there to do his part.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was good.
Yeah, that's actually that surprises me. I've never seen you give almost 5 anything. So that's fair. Okay. All right. Well then, my love, let's move on to the actual plot of the movie.
Okay.
Plot, I will give it a 3.5. I guess for me, it's hard to give a plot 5 stars to me. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes because it's like, well, the plot usually can be simple. I don't know if I could give a plot of 5 for anything except maybe John Wick 1. I know. See, I'm being biased. That's the only thing I give. Plot was a 5.
Okay, if you were an English teacher grading a paper, did the plot have everything it was supposed to?
Yes, it did. An emotional hook, an anchor, a story. Some things happened in between, and it ended. Period.
Where's the climax and resolution?
He did. That's the climax.
Okay.
You hurt my dog, you die. That's a climax right there. Did he die?
Oh, we're talking about John Wick now. I thought we were talking about this movie.
No, you distracted me from what I was saying because you sounded like you doubted.
I said did this.
Oh, I give it 3.5. Not in a bad way, but yeah, the plot seemed simple, but because it's not our typical possession movie. You can't really track what's happening, and because in the movie's description, not IMDb's, you couldn't tell if what was happening was real or not. And the scenes that they hinted at going back and forth for the first 30 minutes, I'm like, what is happening? And as the story progresses, then you get a sense of the plot.
Well, I think once they had whatever that weekend was talking about the demon.
What is it called? It was an East Indian holiday.
Starts with a P, doesn't it?
Durga Puja.
Puja.
And that's, I think it says kind of like their
So they called it the
Yeah.
puja in the movie, and that's where you really get to understand. So if you don't know anything about Hindu culture or demons or goddesses, you learn through this weekend of puja, like the whole ritual of like cooking and then getting together with everyone and praying. So I think the plot did a good job of getting us that information without waiting till the very end, and then also
sneaking something in there,
or even like prolonging it, right? Like they give you this little part that's like, hey, this is what this is, and then not after that, but like the girl figures out
what's
like
happening
with that. We kind of figure out with her,
and that's
that something's going on with that particular.
And I think the way that they made it seem work was because, like you said, she's first generation American, and it's not that she doesn't know the culture; it's just she's dismissive of it.
Yeah.
And the minute that she needs it to make sense, then it's like we kind of learn with her about it, because now we're paying attention because something's directly affecting her, and as the audience, us too. So I'm gonna change. I'm actually gonna give the plot 4.
Okay.
4 egos for that one. You're right. You did a good job. That was good. That was good. And yeah, I think that's when they show you the conflict mainly between Sam and her mother, and why it makes it instrumental when she's trying to figure out what happens. Then we have to go back to, hey, why do we celebrate Durga Puja? And then that's through the mom explaining it to her. The mom's not totally left out of the picture, but it's not like she's chastising for not knowing, because like, hey, you should know. You're just ignoring this, and it's very important that we celebrate it. I think the one thing I said that bothered me, actually, you know what, I'll wait till we get to the scare factor on this one. Now I'll wait till we get to that one. As far as the pacing, I'll give the pacing 3.5, not in a bad way on there.
You say not in a bad way. If it's not in a bad way, why don't you just give it a 4? I don't know what you mean by 3.5. It's better than average.
Yes. So like,
isn't 4 better than average on a scale of 1 to 5, right?
I will say this: if a scary movie that was a 4 was like The Nun Part 2. That's a 4 for pacing.
Okay.
Was the pace like that for this?
I mean, it was an okay pace. Like, it wasn't too slow. It wasn't too fast.
That's how I got 3.5 on there.
Why didn't you just do 3? It's in the
I'm going to headbutt you right now.
Okay. Questionable choices.
Fine. 3 then. 3, okay? Just talk me up, just talk me down, okay?
Never split the difference, honey.
I'm going to split you. All right, so the pacing wasn't so slow that you fell asleep, and it wasn't a slow burn. And it wasn't too fast, like you're watching a slasher movie. So the pacing kept you interested enough to at least want to figure out what's happening. They even had time to put in a backstory within the movie that helped explain what exactly was going on, and it didn't bog down what was happening in the present. They weren't necessarily flashbacks, but they were just a 20 or 30-second scene here and there that showed you a scene before that had happened. Like at the beginning of the movie, they keep referencing the scene, the door.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, like they would do it and they would talk around what happened, but not having to replay an entire scene.
Yeah.
To bog down the movie. But when there was action, you had a firm understanding of what was happening, especially with the entity. And this is where I had an issue with what's her name? Where is it on here? Betty Gabriel. I'm saying right now, Betty Gabriel's black, right? Now they're saying when Betty Gabriel's talking to Sam freaks out because she sees something behind her and she runs. Okay, now I'm not sure if you've learned this either, but there's a thing that says, hey, if people are running and they run by you, you run too. Ask questions later, okay? Now, given the context, you could either be running from a felony. You don't want to catch that, but, that's something for the course to determine later. Anyway, so Sam sees this entity behind her teacher, Ms. Gabriel. She takes off, right? This woman turns around and reaches out into seemingly the void. Now, I don't revoke black cards. I'm just saying that was antithetical to the.
Well, then the other thing she does is definitely like, girl, take that card.
She was trying to play some whatchamacallit.
Lights out in the bathroom.
She tried to play Lights Out. What's the Candyman?
Candyman, Bloody Mary, all of it.
So yeah. Anyway, she turned the light off for 3 seconds, turn it back on. Hey, there's steam over there. Turn the light off, turn it back on. There's steam on the window, the mirror in the bathroom.
Oh, see, I didn't see that.
Yeah. Okay. That was why I was like, what are you doing? She's just provoking the entity. That was shame, damn. Shame. But that was the one thing I'm like, that's not true to the game right there. That's not true to the game at all, guys. What did you give it, honey?
Oh, the pacing?
Mm-hmm.
I think a 3 is good. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't too slow. I didn't feel like I wanted to fall asleep. And I didn't feel like it was too fast. I think they did a really good job of keeping it even between needing to understand the story so you understood who the demon was,
mm-hmm.
And how to defeat it. And then, keeping us entertained.
Very fair. Scare factor. I might go 4.5 on this one.
What?
Yeah. And the thing is there's scare. Their scare is if there's a scene where she puts her phone down and she's the glowing eyes.
Yeah.
Puts the phone up, there's nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
There's that kind of jump scare. But there's also dread. So we don't see the entity for like 3/4 of the movie.
No, I feel
like a full on.
A full on, yes.
And when you do, you're like, that's actually pretty damn disgusting and scary.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just like, oh, it's got a scar or it's the little demon thing from not The Conjuring, but the other one. Oh God,
The Grudge.
Not The Grudge. Not The Conjuring. Not The Grudge. Insidious.
Oh,
like that thing didn't scare me. The first time you see him, the little clown dude,
I have no idea what that is.
We've seen it before. The Red Door.
Oh, the Red Door. Yeah.
That one. It's not really scary. Like the first time that you see it, in that one, it's scary because you didn't consider. But after that, you're just like, that's not really scary.
Right.
But for this thing, when you actually fully reveal the entity, you're like, that is terrifying. And I would say that jump scares were well placed. The entity reveal again was very gruesome, and I think the fact that at the end, it's still there's a resolution, but it's very, very uneasy. And there's a sense of dread.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's hopeful, but they're like, I don't know how this is going to turn out, especially with Sam.
Yeah, I thought it was a very interesting solution for sure.
It was. Yeah. That I would not have thought of that solution at all. And that was what, I think it took it over the edge for me to call it a 4.5. Like, what do you give it for scare factor?
I give it like a 3.5. Not in a bad way.
Looking me up and wow, now it's not in a bad way.
I'm just kidding. I mean, I honestly, it's a 3 for me.
Really? Go ahead.
Jump scares are like to me. I think they're useful.
Yeah, you're calling me emotional.
I think there were a lot of them though in this movie.
Okay.
And then I don't know if I actually enjoyed. I didn't find this scary. I found it odd that the entity was invisible most of the time. It happened in weird places, but then was visible.
That's fair.
So, and they didn't really explain that. I don't know. That was just weird to me. Like, I guess in a lot of possession movies and stuff, the entity is inside someone typically, and things are outside, like move or shut, but this was different in a sense that the entity was not actually inside someone. Right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it had this weird option of being invisible and then a scene for the jump scare.
The way that I saw it is they weren't tangible if you were by yourself, it wasn't tangible. But if you had someone else with you that could also see it and believed it, then you could actually like physically touch it or hit it.
It worked actually the opposite way.
Because the only time that she would actually try to fight the entity face to face was either with her mom or with her friend. She couldn't do that when she was by herself. That's what I took it to be.
You know what I mean? Like there were times that was invisible. There were times that, and it seemed like they were using that mostly for the jump scare.
I guess that might be where that's probably why you gave it 3 and I had to give it 4.5.
Maybe there's some lore I don't know about or understand.
And that could be.
Because maybe like in daylight, it's invisible, or, you know, because like.
That's fair.
You know, when it was messing with people, it was invisible until
that's
like.
Fair. At night.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
maybe
fair.
That's it.
I'll give you that. All right. Well done, man. Because you was an English major and stuff. Okay. Well, guys, we definitely recommend you guys see It Lives Inside. I think we got it on Prime Video, correct?
I think so.
Yeah, so it should be on Prime Video or pretty much anywhere else you get on demand. But yeah, it was actually a very enjoyable movie. And that's all we've got for this edition of our horror movie reviews for the She-Ra and Ego. We are out.